Ladies, gentlemen also, welcome to our great show. This presentation will offer mystery, sex, violence, an abduction, and a happy end. Let's start right here with the mystery. All we know about this token is what's written on it. We assume it was used in an amusement park, but even that is not sure. In a few decades, Birger Eriksson faded from history. Unless you know more, this token will remain a mystery. There is a lot we do know, though. We'll have a look at where the amusement parks were coming from and how they developed. We'll see how the bourgeois part of the Swedish society reacted to that development and why they ultimately failed. Next, we'll have a quick look at the token producers and the constraints of the circumstances. From there, it is easy to understand that there was a Swedish organization of amusement park owners and why it ordered tokens for its members. We'll have a closer look at the three largest Swedish amusement parks, showing you in passing how the tokens evolved just like coins and how they were used. By the way, the picture in the background shows the entrance to one of those big three, and that focus allows me to come up with a happy end. As elsewhere in Europe, in Sweden, troops of singers, dancers, and acrobats went from village to town to castle to provide amusement and collect money. Those groups became semi-professional, semi-nomads with ever larger and more complicated equipment. However, it is important to realize that in the Swedish climate, you could have amusement mainly in spring and summer. The rest of the year, the amusement workers were technically unemployed and their equipment had to be stored. Owners needed an amount of capital and the will to take on big risks. Initially, the entertainment took the form of a Nöjesfält, an entertainment field or a circus. The former amounted to little more than a carousel and a booth with homemade sweets. New services were added, ranging from a mobile open-air dance floor to alcoholic drinks, games, and thrilling rides. The Nöjesfält eventually became so top-heavy with equipment that some started settling down. Perhaps the first to do so was Jacob Schultheis, a German migrant who in 1883 rented a waste dump near a Navy base, cleaned it up, and established Gröna Lund on the edge of Stockholm. Jacob died in 1914. He was succeeded by his son, Gustav Nilsson. You will meet him again later in this presentation. Sedentary parks could offer covered dance floors, real restaurants, and huge, thrilling rides. You will find yourself in one of them later on, as well as elaborate attractions like the Funny House of Gröna Lund. Such amusement parks should not be confused with folkparker, people's parks. They were more sedate, usually non-profit undertakings that offered a restaurant, music, and dance as well. However, the ballroom could also be used for educational purposes, concerts, theater, and cinema, and the complex could include a library. An open-air area would be used for a summertime mobile dance floor or a Christmas market in winter. The most elaborate of these is Skansen in Stockholm, which is grouped around the National Ethical Museum and issuing dance floor tokens. There was a reason for the split between amusement parks and the people's parks. After Napoleon, Sweden started again with a new royal dynasty in an atmosphere where political parties were slowly coalescing into a classic pattern of liberals and socialists with Christian Democrats in between. The Protestant Church in Sweden had a streak of Puritanism. It was able to ally itself with center and right politicians against the music sector. Conservative academics, doctors, and teachers joined the chorus. Their arguments were suspect from the beginning. Amusement was called a hotbed of immorality. Specifically, it encouraged public alcohol intoxication and sex, which was considered a sin by itself. One wonders how the Swedes of these days procreated. Perhaps as a consequence of the often vociferous opposition against private amusement parks, the public would link them with petty crime. The park owners and their staff were seen with suspicion and misgivings, often enough resulting in social discrimination and petty obstructionism from local authorities. Restrictions and very high taxes on selling alcohol would have contributed to the problem. After 1945, social sciences kicked in. Study after study showed that the arguments of the old guard did not hold scientific water. The real driver of the amusement parks turned out to be the long, dark Swedish winters. People were happy when spring came. They wanted to dance and play in the open air and enjoy the nice weather. Amusement parks gave the warm time of the year an extra sparkle that helped them come through the winter. Women's Lib created the image of the young, blonde, free-thinking Swedish woman. Amusement parks flourished. The heyday of the amusement parks and the people's parks did not last long. The introduction of television in 1956 spelled the end of the smaller parks. Some saved themselves by going into production and repair of amusement park equipment or general metal construction. Some are still there, marginalized further by the internet. Many folded and sold their equipment and a precious storage space to surviving competitors. Amusement park owners saw the utility of tokens early on. However, they were very sensitive to cost and they needed small series only. That excluded official mints and brought in private metalware producers. Unsurprisingly, they could be found in the big cities. Sporrong in Stockholm had a large token producing business already. Sigma, producing in the Stockholm outskirts of the same name, but with a sales office in the center of town, was the main competition. In Göteborg, Sweden's second largest city, resided the largest of the many small Swedish producers, Sönnergen. Still, there is a distinct influence of Danish metalware producer Meka, better known for its jewelry and tableware. In addition, a large majority of tokens do not name their maker. As far as I know, Meka's dies and archives have been researched, and Sporrong's archives are being researched, but much remains to be discovered. To accommodate the needs of the park owners, the big producers offered generic tokens without the name of the issuer or with that name added separately in several denominations, like the token top right from Sigma. When these also do not have the name of the producer, we depend on die analysis to find more. The threads of social discrimination and using small series of tokens come together in the Swedish Association of Park Owners. The association was an initiative of Johan Lindgren, who is below center. He was the owner of Nöjesfältet in Stockholm. Like Gustav Nilsson, we will meet him later. For the moment, note his upper-class suit, high collar, and his determined, even somewhat uptight look and pose. The aim of the organization was expressed as, the association's purpose is to maintain and promote the reputation of our profession in both social and economic terms. The association shall assist members who have been hindered in the practice of their profession. One of the activities of the organization was to serve as intermediate between Meka and their members. We know Meka made these tokens because the value side dies were found in their archives. Members could order Meka generic tokens, like the ones on the left, or have their initials added to the common text Sveriges Tivoliägare Förening and Stockholm Around. With the names on the membership list of the association, some of these initials could be assigned to a single member. In other cases, more than one member had the same initials, like the token right below. In 1752, landowner Johan Anders Lamberg named his property Lisasberg, Lisa's Mountain, after his wife Elizabeth Söderberg. The area eventually became known as Liseberg, In 1923, an exhibition was held there to commemorate the 300th anniversary of the foundation of Göteborg. As part of the celebrations, there was an amusement park on Liseberg. It proved to be so popular that it was retained after the exhibition was wound up. In 1924, the park was bought out by the city council, perhaps because it was thought that city ownership would keep those horrible amusement park people under control. The indoor dance floor, Rotunda, was opened in 1940. We learned something about the principal or intended use of the tokens from the inscriptions. Dansbanane is for access to the dance floor. Attractionsbollet means token for a ride. Rabattmerk means discount coupon. Verdemarke and Winstbollet were probably for gaming machines. You can imagine the frustration of owners and users by looking at how the old 10 euro tokens were first defaced, then replaced by 25 euro token that is slightly heavier, but otherwise technically the same. And in the end, only one type of token remained, adorned with a jester, probably a game token, possibly also used as a casino chip. Gentlemen, hold your ladies tight. They won't mind. This is a wild roller coaster ride. In the left corner is Gustav Nilsson, owner of Gröna, son of the company founder. He studied engineering and has a refined taste. The man with the steely gaze in the right corner is Johan Lindgren. Johan started out working in a sawmill, which did not teach him fine manners. Later, he became known for throwing unruly customers over the fence of his amusement park. He started a mobile amusement park and settled in Stockholm under the name Nöjesfältet, right across the street from Gröna. To end insult to injury, Johan offered a very popular roller coaster, while Gustav didn't have one. Gustav struck back that winter. He quietly bought the stables where the roller coaster was stored and had a ditch dug around it, so Johan couldn't take his roller coaster out. When the highest court decided in Gustav's favor, Johan reacted in his own way by dumping a dead horse in front of the entrance of Gröna. Johan's greatest caper came when a person no less than King Zog of Albania visited Stockholm. The king was to visit Skansen, which had an upmarket zoo of Nordic and not so Nordic, but popular animals. Skansen is situated on the same island as Nöjesfältet and Gröna. On crossing the bridge to the island, a limousine car waited the king's convoy. The convoy assumed the car would guide it to Skansen and followed the limousine, which was in fact Johan Lindgren's car. As the convoy arrived at Nöjesfältet, a member of the staff with a hand-cranked gramophone player managed a recognizable version of the Albanian national anthem sitting on a roof below an Albanian flag. The king had a pleasant visit, never realizing he had been abducted. In the end, the sworn enemies settled down to a situation where Skansen, the educational site, tended to receive upper-class visitors. Gröna, with its technical savvy, appealed more to the middle class, and Nöjesfältet entertained the lower classes and had the image of being a bit more vital. The epic fight of Gustav and Johan ended abruptly in 1940, when both men died without ever meeting. However, their story went on. Ninni Nilsson, Gustav's daughter, and Johan Lindgren, Johan's son, had met, but always in secret. They were in love. After a respectful wait, they married in 1942. It was a high society wedding, with the couple appearing on the cover of Sweden's answer to Life magazine. The orchestras of both amusement parks played, but not at the same time. Local celebrities and artists attended. One of them, Karl Gerhardt, gave a speech and wrote the song Happy End in Brede Grand. The Shakespearean love story was the subject of the feature film Fire and Flames. Nöjesfältet was eventually subsumed in Gröna, but Ninni and Johan had hit the jackpot by taking a joint ride on the carousel of life.